In this week's video, we're gonna go all into collaboration. I'm gonna give you some inspiration from the hip-hop scene on how you can level up your marketing by using collaboration. There will be appearances from Snoop, Dave Chappelle, Debbie Harry, Busta Rhymes, Spike Lee, and so many more. I'm really excited about today's video. For those joining me for the first time, my name is Rebecca Smart-Buchan and I help musicians grow their audience and business online. Go ahead and hit subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to get notified whenever I share a new lesson about music marketing. Today's intro music is brought to you by Ryan Luria. Go check it out on Spotify and let's take a listen for a few seconds.
I want you tonight, I'd be stupid not to try. You've been on my mind.
I'm gonna link to his Spotify in the caption. Go check him out. If you want your song to be featured in my intro, all you have to do is share yourself watching this video and tag me on Instagram or subscribe here on YouTube and comment on this video. Every week, I will feature one upcoming musician. One of the many reasons I've been obsessed with hip-hop all my life is not only because of the great music and the storytelling, but also because of the techniques and the methods that were used to promote and share hip-hop music to the rest of the world. Hip-hop has always been controversial and cutting edge because in the beginning, it wasn't supported by the mainstream record labels and radio stations and was looked down upon by the general public as a bad influence. I mean, remember the FBI's attempt to censor NWA in the 80s? The struggle was real. One key element in hip-hop has always been collaboration and a do-it-yourself ethic. This is because artists didn't receive the support or funding from the music industry and general public at first, and so had to find alternative ways to spread their music and work together. The collaboration between Debbie Harry and Grandmaster Flash, I will forever be a Blondie fan, was one of the first which introduced the hip-hop scene to the punk scene. Another generally despised underdog community and scene, but which then resulted in rap going from Bronx and Brooklyn and moving down to Manhattan, where the punk scene was hanging out. This was one of the first steps that forced rap music into the consciousness of the general public. Also, the collaboration between Run DMC and Aerosmith, Walk This Way, had a similar crossover appeal and helped to carve a space for hip-hop in the minds of the general public. However, in hip-hop, collaboration is not just about making music with other people. It can also include marketing cross-promotion, collaboration with designers on products, such as merchandise or clothing, or even just sharing a stage or a space with an unexpected person or a brand. I remember when Dave Chappelle hosted his infamous block party in Brooklyn in 2005, which is one of the best marketing stunts ever done, in my opinion. The lineup for that show was insane, and it's still talked about today. He actually managed to get the Fugees back together for a reunion show, which was also a great example of the do-it-yourself ethic, as well as an act of rebellion and collaboration in response to rejection by the mainstream. Lauryn Hill had been asked to perform solo, but her label, Columbia Records, refused to license her solo music for the show, so she decided to resurrect her old group and play with them instead. Oh, another fun fact, did you know J. Cole was actually in the audience that day? Just jamming, enjoying the show, not knowing what was in store for the rest of his life and career. Here you see the worlds of stand-up comedy and music colliding. But if you think about it, they're actually very similar worlds. Both comedians and rappers perform and project their work from a stage to an audience. They both have stories to tell and both use timing, rhythm, cadence, and tone to give the stories more depth and context and to turn their stories into a new form of entertainment. You continue to see cross-industry collaboration throughout the history of hip-hop, like artists partnering with fashion brands. I mean, remember Run DMC and Adidas? They managed to get a huge mainstream company to endorse a rap group back in the 80s because their community and following was so strong. I mean, Run DMC even have an entire song dedicated to Adidas, My Adidas. Collaboration has been a key tool for hip-hop as a movement to carve itself a space in the world's music scene, and has today become even more than just another music genre with mainstream appeal. Hip-hop essentially dictates new trends across all sorts of other industries. Obviously the music industry, but also fashion, sports, movies, and many more. However, I continue to see constant innovation of marketing techniques within hip-hop today, where collaboration is still the #1 factor. Even if you don't like hip-hop music, there's a lot to learn from the marketing techniques, the do-it-yourself ethic, and the community building that was pioneered by hip-hop artists and labels. Hip-hop artists are typically at the forefront and very innovative, especially on the internet, as many musicians are starting to embrace the concept of collaboration in their music. Seeing artists feature on each other's albums and tracks is very common these days. Very few understand how to use this concept in their marketing. In this video, I want to give you some alternative ways that you can start collaborating in your marketing in ways that are inspired by the hip-hop community. Let's do it. First thing you can do is collaborate through content. As I was recently scrolling through Instagram the other day, I came across a post that caught my attention by Adelante. It's an upcoming producer. Check it out.
Did you really get stuck here?
So I had to sample it.
So I love when musicians show how they get inspired and the process behind the music. And Adelante understands content marketing, so he knows the perfect format and creates reels which get lots of engagement and views. So a few days go by and suddenly I saw Adelante share another post where a rapper had seen his previous post and decided to rap on it. And it was fire. I mean, check this out.
Sample it.
Kitty toy, any toy, you could give us a couple coins. We gon' flip it and turn it to something you just cannot avoid. We be on it.
The second rapper is another musician who obviously understands content marketing. When I went in to check his profile, I saw that all he does is collaborate with other artists through online content. So he finds upcoming producers that he likes, he rips their content from socials, and he adds his value on top of it by rapping over their beats. So this is repurposing content, collaboration, and networking all in one. Not only are you grabbing the attention of upcoming musicians in the industry, you are creating quality, engaging content and starting conversations through this content. And everyone is loving it. If you're collaborating with someone on a song, you can also collaborate on marketing through content. Of course, you will usually both be in the music video, but think content beyond this. When Fatboy Slim and Eats Everything launched their collaboration, they also created some video series to introduce and promote the collaboration. I mean, their DJ Carpool series was hilarious and nicely showcased both of their brands together. With this method, both artists gain exposure and promotion, and most importantly, the song will perform well as you will have some creative content to promote the song. Go live together and show the collaboration through all your different platforms. For example, a genius technique of collaborating with other artists using video, even during these times of lockdowns and restricted movements, is to create a layered video where you can sing a cappella, perform a song, and a lot more creative uses. Then you can also collaborate on a stage, basically go live. So when I saw that Drake, Travis Scott, and Ninja was gonna meet up in the online game Fortnite to hang out and play, it caught my attention. And especially because they were gonna stream it on Twitch. Not only are two of my favorite rappers entering one of my favorite worlds, gaming, but they're also using the live stream format so geniusly. Ninja is one of the most popular Twitch streamers and has a huge following and a community around him. He is a gamer who has really conquered the live stream format and has created a huge business around his brand and personality. You've seen collaborations between hip-hop and gaming for a long time now. Whether it's hip-hop music being used in video games or rappers mentioning video games in their songs. I mean, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. Don't get me started. This is very common and is a clever way to cross-promote. It's an interesting collaboration because a lot of gamers listen to hip-hop and a lot of rappers are gamers in their free time. Online gaming can be a great way to reach a larger audience for artists because it gives people a reason to come together and also makes the artists seem more real and accessible. Just like any other social media platform, online gaming pulls down another barrier between the artist and their audience and gives the fans another insight into the personality and lifestyle of their favorite artists. The artists have no advantage inside Fortnite. Just because they're Drake or Travis Scott doesn't mean that they're going to be any better at the game, so you're all playing on the same level. Of course, the streaming session with Drake, Travis Scott, and Ninja broke a record on Twitch at the time in 2018. Not only are Drake and Travis Scott being introduced to a potential new fan base, they get to meet with them in a context they can control through gaming. They suddenly became very relatable. This trend of mixing gaming culture with hip-hop culture continued for Travis Scott when he a few months ago created and performed a live concert inside Fortnite for a total of 12.3 million people. I mean, the numbers are incredible. We also continue to see hip-hop artists collaborating with stand-up comedians in various different ways. We often see them at events on lineups consisting of hip-hop artists as well as comedians. However, hip-hop artists also often get comedians to feature on their albums as well. Cedric the Entertainer can often be heard on Skits on Nelly's album. Chris Rock can be heard on albums by Busta Rhymes and Kanye West. And more recently, rapper Amin has featured Instagram comedian and social media personality Ricky Thompson in a lot of his songs, skits, and music videos. If the stories and brands are similar, it makes sense to share a stage or a screen and give a creative and innovative live experience together. Live streaming is technically also a stage. And by finding streamers in your niche and going live together, you will grow your brand and interact with fans on different platforms and on different areas of interest. It makes you relatable and approachable. You can also collaborate with content creators and influencers. So 2020 has not been the best year for most of us. However, a great bit of relief came when Dogface208 came skating and lip-synced into our lives with some good vibes. His video went viral as he skated and said the wrong words, to Fleetwood Mac, Dreams, which is a classic and it just fits the video and the vibe. A few weeks after, I then saw Wiz Khalifa joining him in one of his videos on his longboard. Yes, of course, it makes sense. They're both kinda into the same kind of things. Smoking weed, skating, listening to music, and chilling. And of course, the video was perfectly placed on top of a Wiz Khalifa song. Then another week goes by, and suddenly I see Snoop Dogg popping up on his content. I mean, paid collab, of course, but still, which also totally makes sense. The reason it makes sense for Wiz and Snoop to collaborate with Dogface208 is because they have similar interests. Their brands have similarities and their audience will cross over as well. There are other content creators your audience are following right now. Content creators who are not musicians. These can be influencers, vloggers, gamers. The more niche you go, the better. Get a clear understanding of your audience and their interests. Most likely, it's just a reflection of your own interests. I mean, Dogface, Wiz, and Snoop are just being themselves and their audience can relate. Start finding content creators who have similar interests and similar lifestyle to you and start building a relationship with them. You can of course approach them right away with a collab proposal, but you may need to do some groundwork and build a rapport at first in order to get their attention and get them to want to work with you. I mean, some of these content creators have so many followers and they understand how to create engaging, good quality content. By creating content together and not just providing the background music for their content, you're also placing your whole brand into their content and not just your music. I mean, Wiz Khalifa both had his music as well as himself cruising on the longboard in the video, which is way more affecting than just Dogface creating a video on top of Wiz's music. You should also collaborate with other creatives who are not musicians. So creating some graphics and visuals around your music and brand is just a necessary part of the job now. You need artwork, logos, branding for your socials and releases, and you probably need a music video as well. However, you can collaborate with visual artists, illustrators, graphic designers in much more creative ways than just paying them to create your artwork and branding. So Major Lazer collaborated with Ferry Gu, an Indonesian illustrator who is the creative vision and illustrator behind the Major Lazer character, as well as the branding and the artwork. Major Lazer have found a way to tell their story even further through illustrations, cartoons, comic books, online games. I mean, why limit your story to only your music, right? I mean, this can be expanded in so many more formats, which Major Lazer do through turning the brand into a cartoon character. I mean, this cartoon character also has its own skin in Fortnite as well. So by attaching the music to an illustrator, you suddenly open up a lot more avenues to communicate through. I mean, this is collaboration 2.0. You can start with hitting up some illustrators who are in your niche and see if they're up to doing a collab on a project. I mean, a simple project can be your cover artwork or an artwork for a release or an event. Start small, right? Major Lazer wasn't built in a day either. It all started with an idea that grew and grew. Collaboration can go into the movie and the TV industry as well. I mean, Spike Lee is one of the most sought after music video directors of all time. I mean, he's worked with Michael Jackson, Prince, Kanye West, and many more. He also uses hip-hop music in the feature films he directs as well. Creating a music video for your song is one of the most effective ways for your audience to get exposed to your music, because you're attaching the music onto visuals, which are perhaps telling a story, and all of this is helping the song to resonate harder with your audience. I mean, as humans, we're an audio-visual species. These are the two main senses we use to navigate and evaluate the world around us. So if you want your music to make an impact on your audience, the best way is to combine audio, music, with visual, a music video. This is far more effective than just listening to the audio. By starting to think creatively around your music videos and collaborating with other creatives here, you can really start to reach a much wider audiences and leave a lasting impressions on them. Even collaborating with people you put in your video. I mean, remember Alicia Silverstone in Aerosmith crying? Or even more recent example is Kylie Jenner appearing in Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B's WAP music video. This was made even more memorable because of the controversy surrounding it. Strategically putting some specific people in a music video that will help to convey a message even further is a great way of adding even more value to your content, especially if you use influential people. It doesn't matter how many followers they have, really, as long as they have some form of influence. So there you have it. There's some methods of how to use collaboration to expand your audience and reach, as well as growing your brand. All these techniques have been pioneered and are still used today by hip-hop artists. Try them out and let me know how they work for you. That's it for today. If you haven't already, now is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. See you next week.